Hi.
Hello.
So you're wondering why you're tight, stiff, and sore? Well, you're not alone in that question. So hi, we're Brian and Christina from Your Healthy Steps, and we've been neuromuscular massage therapists for the past 15 years. And our clients have asked that same question. And they were feeling frustrated because they couldn't move the way they used to. They had a lot of muscular pain, and they were feeling old.
Absolutely.
Yes. Now, everyone's muscles are going to get tight, stiff, and sore as they get older. But please don't let anybody convince you that because you're getting older, your muscles are going to become tight, stiff, and sore.
Yeah, you're just getting old, so just face it. I don't like that statement.
Yes.
I don't.
So what you're feeling is just your body's way of telling you that you need to do some self-care. You need to take care of it.
Yeah, you need to pay attention to your body.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. So if you are feeling tight, stiff, and sore, there's a reason for it. And we want to explain to you why and what you can do about it.
What you can do about it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So first, what we need to do is for you to understand just a basic idea of what a muscle is and what makes up a muscle.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So what is a muscle? So basically a muscle is the soft tissue that connects to the bones, and as it moves, it contracts and elongates, we move. So really what moves your body is the muscle doing its job by contracting and elongating. And it also, along with movement, it provides stability. So as I'm standing here right now, my muscles are moving to make sure I don't flop over like a limp rag doll, right?
Yeah.
That's what our muscles are doing. So again, it's wonderful that we have these muscles. We just need to take care of them, right? So to do that, we kind of have a need to understand a little bit more in depth of the muscle. So let's do that. We've got a picture that's going to pop up, and that picture shows you a muscle that you can see where it's connected to the bone, and you see a muscle, and then there's sort of a bundle of muscle that comes out, and another bundle of muscle that comes out, and another bundle of muscle that comes out, until finally you see this one tiny little muscle fiber. Well, that's what's making up the muscle. It's muscle fibers that are bundled up into a group of muscle fibers that are bundled up in another group of muscle fibers, and so on until we have an overall muscle. Okay? And it is the contraction and the elongating of those muscle fibers that provide us that movement and stability. Okay? And I want you to notice real quickly here, each muscle bundle has a little white circle around it. That muscle, that circle is what is called fascia. And this is really important for us with our movement. So Christina's going to talk about that next.
Right. Okay, so each fiber is wrapped by fascia, and each bundle is wrapped by fascia, and each muscle is wrapped by fascia. And it's the fascia that allows for smooth movement of the fibers and each bundle.
Absolutely.
And it's going to separate the muscle fibers and the muscles. And it's the smooth surface of the fascia which allows for smooth movement of the muscle fibers and for the muscles to glide over.
And for you.
Yes.
You got to have good fascia to have good smooth movement.
Yeah. So here's a picture of a cross section of your lower leg. And you can see how each muscle is wrapped by fascia, which allows those muscles to move independently of each other and to move smoothly. And if you take a look at that, did you know there's actually 11 individual muscles just in your lower leg?
Yeah.
And for each one to work well, they need to move smoothly. And so this picture is showing you a healthy lower leg. And unfortunately, it's not what a leg is going to look like, say, after the age of 30.
Yeah, it certainly won't look like that. Pretty much at any age, and again, we're explaining why that is. So now that you know what a muscle is and basically how it's made up, we can have a better understanding as to why it becomes dysfunction. Why does it become tight, stiff, and sore? Okay, so it is really three things. It's the accumulation of what is called scar tissue, adhesions, and hyper-irritated points that are in the muscle. And it's an accumulation of these three things.
Yes.
And this is what therapists call dysfunction in the muscle, because it's causing it not to function correctly or well. Okay, so how do we accumulate scar tissue, adhesions, and hyper-irritated points? Well, We do that by basically using our muscles, and we do that every day. Every time as I'm using my arms, I'm using my hands, I'm using the muscles. And as we do that, muscle breaks down and it builds back up and becomes stronger. That's pretty much how the muscles work. We use them, we break them down, and typically that makes them stronger. But we also have a byproduct of that. And what that byproduct is scar tissue adhesions and hyperirritated points.
Right.
So this picture that's popping up next is a picture of it's a dysfunctional muscle, but it's more the norm for especially 30 plus. This is really what your muscle is going to look like. And if you look at this muscle, you're going to see little wiggly lines. Some of them cut through the muscle, and that is where you had a tear and the muscle healed, and we have scar tissue there. You also see wiggly lines on the white area, which is the fascia, and that is adhesions. And that's just the accumulation of metabolic waste that gets in there and causes it to get sticky and dysfunctional and adhere. And then the X's are going to be your hyperirritated points. Now, what's really important to know here is that this is not just, we didn't just cut it and all of a sudden this is all we found. This is throughout the whole entire length of every muscle in your body, and it is all the whole depth of the muscle. So from the surface all the way to the bone, you're going to have this type of dysfunction, scar tissue adhesions and so forth. So it's an accumulative thing. It is building all the time because we're using the muscles all the time, and it is throughout the length and the depth of the muscle. So what do we mean by using the muscle? Because I think most of us think about breaking down a muscle and getting stronger by going to the gym and working out with weights, right? But it's really anything that you do. It's vacuuming, it's running, it's hiking, it is going to the gym. It's repetitive movements like sitting, standing, using a mouse, typing. Anytime that you're using your body, your muscles, that is movement. And that movement creates byproducts, which is the scar tissue adhesions and hyperirritated points.
Right. And it's important to remember that this is
accumulative. 100%. Yes.
Now, our clients always ask us, they say, well, what do you mean? I thought movement was good for me.
Yep.
And it is. Movement is very good for you. But if you have 30 plus years of accumulation of everything that Brian just talked about, of scar tissue and adhesion, just movement and stretching is not going to reduce that accumulation. So imagine this muscle, right? It's full of scar tissue, adhesions, those hyperirritated points. You can now picture why that fascia is not gliding as well as it used to.
Yeah.
So that's going to create a loss of range of motion, which is what you're feeling, that tight, stiff, achy feeling, which is also going to lead to a loss of strength, a loss of speed, and a loss of endurance, but a higher risk for injury.
Absolutely,
right?
Which is why as we get a little bit older, we start having more tears and pulls and pains because we're tearing stuff more. It's just a dysfunctional muscle.
Yeah.
Now I want you to look at this picture. This is, I don't know if we can always get back to this more perfect muscle, but we can get close to it. And this is what it's supposed to look like. And if we have muscles that are like this, the more without the accumulation of the scar tissue, we've gotten that scar tissue out, the adhesions out of there, the hyperirritated points are out of there. Now the muscle can actually contract and elongate smoothly without the scar tissue, without the tears, and without that adhesion. And the muscle is going to work correctly.
Right.
So it's going to be a lot less stiff. You're going to have a lot more range of motion. It's going to provide more strength for you, more endurance for you, more range of motion for you, and it's going to be a muscle that can move faster and do the job that it's supposed to do.
And you're going to have less pain.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can do this. This is something that you can do because, a lot of our clients, we share this with them all the time because we don't want them to become injured, because when that happens, things get a lot more complicated.
Right.
So we want to hit this before we have an injury and a serious injury.
Yeah. So you don't have to be tight, stiff, and sore. Yeah. So actually, you can do something, and you can start right now.
Right now, absolutely.
So we want to share with you 3 things that you can start right now to reduce that tightness and that stiffness, so you can move pain-free and have more fluid movement, right? and reduce that chance of injury. So if you just add your email below, we'll send you 3 educational videos that you can use that in the information in those videos you can start implementing right away. Yep. So just add your email below and we'll send you that first email in just a few minutes. It should come to you real soon.
Pretty quick. Yep.
Okay. So thanks so much.
Thank you.
This is Brian and Christina from Your Healthy Steps.
All right. Have a good day.